My name's Jason. Downtown they call me Snake, after Jake the Snake Roberts, the wrestler. And I've been on the street almost 20 years now, like off and on from crack house to crack house. I used to sleep on the roof of the church, in the stairwell at the hotel, in the stairwell here. A lot of people down here, they know me, a lot of people, right? And they always say to me, Snake, man, there's something different about you. What it is that I have a spiritual connection with a higher power. I was an only child till I was 8. Then I had a brother born in 1981, March 11th. He's been dead 26 years. 27, almost 28, probably. And he got hit by a car. Now, when I was 11 years old, my brother was 3.5, because my parents kind of, sort of blamed each other. They were all worried about their own stuff. I needed counseling, but they didn't see that. That led about 3 days later, the day of the funeral, some of the older guys in the neighborhood, they smoked me a joint of Gold Seal hash. I slept all night. I slept good. I didn't feel no pain. It was the day of my brother's funeral, and it didn't hurt. So that was it. That was the gateway right there. Hash, then weed, then alcohol at 14, then acid and crack at 18 and heroin at 19. For 10 years I did heroin. And back then I was about 250 pounds. I had hair down to my waist, and I was pretty. Yeah. You know, I didn't have any scars on my face. If you see now, I've got them everywhere. This one dealer I tried to rob. Another dealer with an X-Acto. This was a piece of glass. This was a gun just a couple of weeks ago at Isabella over there. And the gun actually went off, and it went between my ear and my head, and it took some of my hair off. You wake up every morning, you wash your face, you brush your teeth. You start smoking crack, you don't shower 3-4 days. Things just don't matter anymore, because the only thing you're focused on is the getting and using of crack cocaine. The number one reason for people becoming homeless, I believe, is addiction. Some type of addiction, either to money, to drugs, to sex. I had these different problems growing up, which I believe led me to the point of frustration as a child. So then I started using drugs, and acid and smack, there's no way back. Just go ask Alice, right? When I tried drugs, I didn't feel that frustration, that anger, that pain anymore. That void, I didn't feel it. I found a friend, and it had me right there. And then it just becomes a whirlwind, like the Tasmanian devil, right? You know what I'm saying? Your life will just run right through a brick wall, and you don't even understand what just happened to you. Because little by little, each line that you cross that you said you'd never do, there's just certain things you don't do. I've crossed all those boundaries. And spiritually, I believe that when the devil gets you to cross one boundary, the next one's easier and easier and easier. And the next thing you know, it's so common ground for you now. This is just the way you think, it's the way you live, it's the way you act. The drugs come first. They take over your whole mind. Because I believe if I dwell on things, I'll consume them. If you wake up every day and all you want to do is make money, that's all you're going to do. If you want crack, that's all you're going to get. Well, you know what? I want life.
Right.
That's all I can say, man. Thanks for listening. I choose life, man.
You never know what someone's been through. That's out here, you know. So as kind as you can be, and with your heart, is the best thing to, I think, would be to eradicate homelessness. You know. Yeah, definitely. The name's Jason Cerule, born in '77. Been on the streets since I was young, on and off since I was a kid, you know. Toronto now, 6 years I've been on the street, 7 years, 8 years. Like I say, I was born in the East Coast, you know, lots of fun, beaches and stuff, you know, and a lot of kids stuff. Moved to Halifax in Nova Scotia when I was 13, and parents and stuff, yeah, divorcing and remarrying and not getting along with step parents and stuff, and having certain things happen to you in your life where it's just not good for you to be around certain people. And always hung out on the street, and never really left, you know. And then things started to get a little heavy when it comes to mental stability, with what was going on in my life and stuff. So I ended up in the nut house, you know. This place was in East General, Toronto East General. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, so I guess what they say is you have this mental illness. Ever since, it's been kind of dealing with that and dealing with being homeless, you know. I definitely think going through the system when it comes to mental stability and mental illness for some people out here definitely is what might have brought them to the point of being homeless, you know. I think the public could treat homeless people a lot better when it comes to, you know, giving them a chance and to knowing exactly who they are, you know what I mean? Some people are been through a lot, you know. Hopefully we can all understand why some people are out here. Remember that they've been through a lot some people have been through a lot, that they're on the street, and that to be as open-minded as you can and open-hearted, and definitely open-minded, you know, because you never know what someone's been through.
My name's Peter Wilson, and I was born in Burlington, Ontario. I'm 47 years old. I've been out on the street here for 24 years, 23 years. I grew up in a normal home. My family was, you know, I mean, we were upper middle class, I would say. Most of the people you know, you will meet on the street out here are from broken homes. I was not from that. I just rebelled. The first time I left home was to prison. Okay, I went to jail. I spent several years in jail when I was younger because I committed crimes, and that was because I was an alcoholic. When I came out of jail after that, I was about 20. I ventured out to British Columbia, and that's where I became involved with cocaine and eventually heroin. And from then on, for the last 20 years after that, I've been doing it. I'm still addicted, and I don't really have any answers as to how to get off it. If I did, I would. It's not a good feeling. You wake up very sick. You wake up, the morphine's probably worse than the heroin because it gets inside your bones and it sneaks up on you. It's progressive, and basically, that's the gist of what everything's been the last 20 years is just waking up, getting enough money to get drugs and alcohol. I don't know how to get off them, or I don't want to get off them. I don't know. I really, I need help. I'm now at the point I'm afraid to get it. Okay, I'm just like a coward to get it. I don't want to let go of the drugs. I will try and stop for periods of time, a day or two, and when I start getting physically ill, I'll go back to it. Alcohol just fuels that, you know what I mean? Alcohol just makes it worse and worse. Alcohol is the number one thing that is like destroyed my life, or that I have used to destroy my life with, is alcohol. Like, I have a severe hatred towards the police, which most homeless people do, because they prey on homeless people to pad their statistics and such forth. And so I would imagine they have a quota they have to fill, and they fill it with us, with fines and whatever. And they know that because we're homeless, we have no backup. We have no one to go to and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. We have no one. Okay, so they know that. They know exactly what they're doing. Very, 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 very corrupt police force.
My name is Rick. I'm from Illinois. I'm in Vegas. I've been homeless for about 6 months. 40 years old. growing up, good family, strong foundation. Dad was a welder at John Deere. Mom was a waitress. Life was great. Of course, when you're a teenager, you party, you drink, you do a lot of stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, when you become a senior, you get your high school diploma, you enter the workforce, which I did. I followed in my father's footsteps. I went into factory work and on into heavy equipment industry. I quit my job to take care of my parents. When they both passed away, I came to Vegas. I had money in my pocket. I stayed in a motel, filled out applications, stayed in a motel, filled out the applications. Unfortunately, phone calls didn't come, money ran out. The only option was to hit the streets. That transition was hard. I ended up walking for 3 days because I didn't know where I could eat, didn't know where I could sleep, I didn't even know who to talk to. But just happened to talk to one individual. His name was Jimmy Dykes, and he's gone now. He died on the streets, but he showed me the ropes, showed me where to sleep, where to go to get food, and he showed me a lot of things. You develop a family on the streets. Sometimes that's even closer than your own family. The people you sleep with, the people you break bread with, they watch your back, you watch their back, because it's a game of survival out here. There's a lot of fights, mostly it is alcohol related or just the stress of being outside and the depression of being outside, because it is stressful, it is depression. I think that affects everybody. I think they're all good people. It's just you're in a situation that it's hard to get out of. There's not enough out there to get you off the street. There's really not. You have the programs, but they're not designed to get you off the streets. They're designed to keep you out there. What I really want to get across here is to let society know that just because you're homeless doesn't make you a bad person. There are people who drink, and there are people who do drugs, but that's everywhere in the world. But there are a lot of people out here who don't drink, don't do drugs. They're trying to do all the right things. But society just doesn't give them that break. Filling out applications, if you don't have a roof over your head, they don't want to look at you. If you don't have clean clothes, they don't want to talk to you. Like I say, the only way they can change the homeless population is, one, bring back the jobs, send them overseas, let the American people have it. You're closing down factories where people have worked for 30 years and sending the product overseas. What? Are we supposed to sell our homes and follow it? No, I don't think so. Can't do that. Bring back the American jobs. Quit going to wars so we have such a high deficit. Raise the minimum wage. Heck, we got gasoline to where it costs at least half of 1 hour's wage. People can't make it. Put a homeless man in office and see some changes. Seriously. Take somebody who's been down and out and put them in an office and you'll see some changes. We can't completely blame the government for homelessness because people make choices. And they're not always good ones and they're not always bad ones. Something leads you to this. Now, the rest of society and your government would probably tell you it's because of alcohol and drugs. I have to disagree with that. Take the time to get to know the people, know their stories. You'll find a solution.
I was born in Newfoundland on July 5th, 1975, which makes me 36. And I have been on the streets off and on for 6 years. I was brought up in a very well-to-do family with a mother and a father. I was a very lonely child. I was an only child and trying to make my mother happy at all times, and we never got along. I graduated from Cedar Brae Collegiate High School, and I was in the military. I was training to be a medical paratrooper because I have my first year nursing, and I'm scared to death of planes and heights. And I thought I could conquer it, and I was working 3 different jobs at the same time because I was a single mother and trying to prove myself. And then I went to George Brown College and I graduated with hospitality management, and still can't get a job because I have nowhere to live. And I just need to get in proper housing so I can get to see my children again. But the only job offer I've gotten is at a strip joint, and I'm like, you know what, I've had children, nobody wants to see me naked. So That's the only job offer, and it's pretty sad. And the reason why I'm on the streets is the father of my second child, Jordan May, she was born 3.5 months premature with cerebral palsy. And her dad was very abusive, and so we went to a parenting transition home, and he still found us, and I was having breakdown after breakdown. So I dropped my daughter off at daycare and walked away. And that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. Like, I know she's better off because I didn't know how to play with my own child because of cerebral palsy, and nobody would help me, so I did the next best thing. I gave her the help, and I haven't seen her in 5.5 years, and when I put Jordan May into foster care, I lost all my benefits, and like mother's allowance, everything like that, and I came down here, and I was staying in the shelters, and then when I started getting my feet, like my shoes stolen off my feet, I started coming around this area where I ran into everybody that I hang out with now, and they've always taken care of me. Like, I'm still a fish out of water down here compared to everybody else that I know that's been on the streets. They've been on the streets for decades. I believe that one of the true things behind homelessness is addiction, mental stability and addiction. And it's really hard in this world when there's not many people motivating people in the right direction. Usually people are motivating people in the wrong direction. But the government doesn't listen. They don't go, a lot of them, unlike you guys are coming around and making a difference and actually listening to us and trying to making it better. The government should take cues from you guys, because it can happen to anybody. The blink of an eye, it happened to me. And give a homeless person 5 minutes and ask them why they're sitting there instead of making a snap judgment. Just stop and say hello. And it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference in a person's life just to say hello. It makes a big difference in a person's life just to say hello. It makes a big difference in a person's life just to say hello. You know, just don't ignore them.
Cody Brown. I am age 53, and I've been homeless for the age of 17. I am native, and my status is Oneida of the Thames. My parents didn't look after my well-being. I was found miles away from from your family, but I was young. I was an infant. I was younger than 2 years old, and I was picked up in a basket sort of thing. That's where I was dropped off. So I was put in a foster home, which was Dutch reformed, very strict. They didn't give me a chance to be who I am. I was kicked out of the house because I was no longer wanted by the government and no longer wanted by the family. So I set on my own, which was scary. I lived underneath bridges. It started. I lived under stairwells. In my opinion, one reason why that I am homeless and why other people are homeless, there was no structure in my family. You need to be nurtured. When family has to be back to a family. The world's too fast right now. I'm sure a lot of it is our choice, but given the opportunity, not just to say here's $250 for our money, but to have access to schooling, because I can't afford schooling. I can't afford housing. That's what homeless is all about. It's about money. You can't live without money, unfortunately. So make more affordable housing in a affordable area. I don't want to rent in a crack house. I don't want to have my food stolen. I want my own place. I wish there wasn't homeless. You know, the government has got to take a real serious look and not just a band-aid for so many years. Look after the homeless in the way you would want to be looked after. Not just, like I said earlier, not just handouts or something that the government gives you and hope it goes away. No, we need more people involved, more people to see what's going on with the homelessness. The more we get together and show our story. Hopefully through organizations as yours, it'll improve the way people think of homelessness and homeless people.
My name's Denny, and we live in Santa Monica. I live in Santa Monica, and I've been homeless for approximately 6-7 years.
I'm Terry Madrid, and I've been homeless with him for 6 years. And what happened was we were refurbishing these apartments for this lady, and we worked for her for 4 years.
She promised us we'd never have to worry about a place to live again. If we did these apartments for her, she said we'd always have an apartment to live in. We could do like maintenance in the apartments and stuff. And as soon as the job was done, she turned on us and, you know, just kicked us out. And we ended up losing our apartment, and you know, we ended up on the streets. And that was a real hard to take, because I always had money. I always had a place to live. And so now we ended up behind the bank.
Back of Platinum Motors right there,
Yeah.
there's a building. We set up I built
like
a little hut.
Yeah. There was like a bunch of drunks back there, and they just go back at night and drink and party and tear it up, and graffiti on the wall and stuff. So we went back there and chased all them out, cleaned everything up. Because every place we go, we keep it real clean. You know, most people just tear a place up when they stay there.
Yeah.
But we clean it up real nice. And, I mean, you know, it's been hard, but you know, she was real depressed for a while. Right after we first lost our place and we were living in that patio over there, she got real depressed. And it was Christmas Day, and this girl I know had this little dog, Bambi, and she said, "Look, I found this dog running in the street. Do you know anybody who wants it?" I said, "Yeah, I know somebody who wants it," because she's wanted it. We've been married 23 years. She's wanted a little dog the whole time we've been married. She wanted a dog, and I brought it home on Christmas Day and gave it to her. And I'm telling you that it totally turned her around. There's no medicine, there's no drugs, there's no psychiatrist that could have any effect on anybody near 1,000,000 times what that dog did for her. It brought her right back from the depths of depression, and I mean, it brought her back. You know, saved her life. And saved my life too, because if anything happens to her, I'm done too. People come by and say, "Hey, you want to sell your dog for $500?" Man, I wouldn't sell a dog for $1 million. If you have $1 million right now, forget it. That dog is, you know, I love that dog just as much as you love one of your kids. Most people think that, you know, just because you're homeless or you don't have anything right now, is that you've always been that way, or that you're just a bum, lazy.
You
don't want to work. You want to just, and a lot of people are that way. I mean, there's a lot of people out here that are just lazy or just, you know, don't want to work. But, you know, there's a lot of people, too, that have just had hard times fall on them. And, you know, have they worked their whole life like me and just had something bad happen, you know, an act of God or something, and just wiped everything out, and, you know, ended up losing everything they had. And that's real hard, man. People don't understand how hard that is on somebody when that happens, because to go from having everything and then having nothing is just, it's really devastating, you know. It really is devastating, man. You know, so always have a little compassion for your fellow man, because, well, we're trying to get the housing from this shelter, and hopefully we can do that, and then maybe get some kind of something we can do to have a career where we can, you know, learn about computers or something, make some money in the world now, because it's hard to make money in the world now.
We just need a chance. Somebody give us a chance.